Very good morning to you. I should imagine that you got pretty much what you wanted last night from the President.
Especially when it comes to his real impassionate statement on gender-based violence. It is what UN Women Executive Director Dr. Mpumlwana has said is a silent pandemic.
All right, and women, and great, you know, everyone wants the government now to start getting active when it tackles gender-based violence. Women will be impacted a lot by his changes that he announced yesterday. Hairdressers going back, many people working in restaurants. How's it going to work to ensure their safety, and what happens if they've got children at home?
Well, I suppose, you know, they can always... It's also possible to work from home. I mean, these are all some of the things that need to change in some way. In that, when we're talking about behavior change, we're actually talking about how differently we can do our normal things. I listened to somebody yesterday talking about how much better it would be if you could bring the hairdresser to your home, where you can be assured of the protection that you can create in your own environment. And suddenly we're going to find that hairdressing services are mobile, just like you have, Uber Eats delivered.
Okay. What's your conversation with government when it comes to the smoking ban? I mean, we had a guest on a little earlier who was talking, a scientist who was talking about how people in low-income houses are often using the money that would be going towards food on cigarettes. What's a conversation with the government? How are you going to get that nudged?
Well, let me just say that our committee has just now been launched. We have not even had our first meeting. And the purpose of our committee is to look at the various aspects of South African life, as we all come from various fields of South African living. And we will say to each other, what are the things that we know of in our experience that will need to be practiced differently as a result of the COVID environment? And that's something that all of us will bring conversations about, and then be able to say, our advice to government is that they should do ABC to promote this kind of change. But I think more than what we say to government, it will be about how we use our own spaces to promote behavior changes. I can give an example of what we've already done as churches. Even before there were regulations, the churches, at least in the SCCC, began to say, what would be the environment in which we could encourage going back to worship? We began to say, we laid out a whole list of what we call norms and standards of behavior change in churches. That was way before there were any regulations. And in fact, the regulations that have been given are less rigorous than the norms and standards that we have set for ourselves. So we're expecting that if we do this in the home, we sit around in the home, you know, how differently can we live now in the home? How are we going to sit at table together in the COVID environment, not knowing what every one of us has been up to in the course of the day in the various environments in which we work? So all these are about things that you do. How do you do what you normally do differently in the light of the COVID experience? That's really what this committee is about. It's about looking at South Africa's way of life and looking at what we should like to change, not what government should be regulating for us.
Can you give us a sense of who is in the committee, what they represent? I know you said you're talking to all sorts of factors, and I'm just wondering what the major issues are that you're going to be tackling as of today.
I can give, as I've given you the example of the churches. So there are a number of religious bodies there. You've got all faiths included. You've got traditional leaders. You've got civil society organizations, Section 27. You've got stronger gender justice, a whole range of organizations. It is about a wide expanse of South African life experience to say, in the environment in which you come, what are your views of? I can give one example, for example, of what I would think a traditional leader would have to think about in a rural village. Every time people come from a funeral, they wash hands. It's a standard ritual. They wash hands in a common basin when they come back from the graveside. Can we continue to do that? it's such an important ritual, but can it be looked at it differently? Those are the kinds of things we will talk about. We will want to talk about, how differently we should manage our environment in the home, in the workplace, everywhere we are.
Okay, well, we look forward to your findings. Bishop, good to talk to you. Thank you. The body of another Khayelitsha woman has been discovered. Last week, 3 women and a 7-year-old girl were found murdered in the Western Cape. In all 3 of these cases, their boyfriends have been arrested. Aisha Ismail has the story.